Welcome to A New Human Story. In this series, I'm speaking with young changemakers who are creating a better world for people and planet. Today, I am so excited to be speaking with Gabriella and Gabriel Benitez, who together have fundraised close to $200,000 and built 11 homes for families in Tijuana, Mexico. They are on a mission to give all families a safer and better quality of life, one house at a time. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Good,
Good, how
how
are
are
you?
you?
Good. So nice to have you guys here. It's such an amazing project. Can't wait
Thank
Thank
to
you.
hear all
you.
about it. So maybe you guys could start by telling me a little bit about yourselves and telling people how you got inspired to start being change makers.
So, the story is when I was in seventh grade, my school that I went to at the time decided to raise money for a house because one of our teachers at the school had, told us about the cause and everybody really wanted to help out. So, our whole school, which was like 300 something people, decided to raise 16,000, which I already thought was like, well, that's a lot of money.
Wow.
And
But $16,000 for a house, that's amazing. That's not a lot of money. So for $16,000, you can
yeah.
give an entire family hope for the future.
Yeah, it's
Wild.
amazing now, but when I was younger, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
$16,000.
For sure.
And so we raised that money really easily. Of course, my family donated. And then I was like, okay, we helped. And then my mom goes, no, Daniela, we have to go down and build the house. I was like, we're going to go build it? Like, what? I don't want to do that. Because, it was down in Mexico and I'd been down to TJ before and I just seen so many like poor people and all this stuff that like I always felt helpless going down there. And so I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable, to be honest, because it's just weird, going and feeling like you really aren't helping much. So the second we went down there, which my mom had to drag my brother and I to go down there, we were just like in shock of everything in front of us. But then the whole process of getting to watch the family walk into their new home and just watch the tears fall and them speak about their lives changing instantly just made me think, okay, I love this. Like, I want to do this again. And
Wow.
I was 12 years old at the time. So the next day, I woke up my mom and I was like, I need to do this. I want to raise $16,000 on my own with my own team and I want to build another house. And she was like, okay, Daniela, sure, like you do that. Because she just didn't believe like a little 12-year-old's gonna raise all this money and actually do something. She's like, okay. I'm like, okay. I don't even think I had a phone yet, but I took her phone and I started just taking numbers like of family friends and family members and texting them, hi guys. So I'm gonna get 16 people to donate 16 people to donate $1,000 each. So by the end of the summer, we can build this house. This is the cause. I love it. Blah blah blah. And next thing you know, I had 16 people ready to donate.
Wow.
And so I started raising money for my 1,000. I just did little things like lemonade stands, babysitting, whatever it took. And it was a lot easier than I expected it to be. The hardest part kind of was being on top of all these adults, like, oh, okay, it's time to turn in your donation. Like, have you finished raising it? Or if they had their kids raising money, I'd have to text the kids ideas on how to raise the money and what they can do. And that was the hardest part for me. And then next thing you know, we were able to go down and build that house. And I decided I'm going to keep building every year. And the next thing you know, he decides I want to do my own team too. And so we're like, okay, that's double the houses. Let's do it. And so
Wow.
we've just gone on
That's
from
so
there.
cool. So
Thank
Gabriel,
you.
were you inspired by what your sister was doing? Or what were you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I would help her raise the money. I helped her with lemonade stands, and I also helped her sometimes with babysitting. And when we first went down to do her house, I saw how she had completed it and how easy it was to be able to change a family's lives. When for us, it may be super simple, but for them, it's super life changing because they get an entire roof over their head and they don't have to worry about getting wet when it rains or having no running water, which they get all of those things when they get their house. So I saw that she did it and I wanted to take initiative and do it myself too. And we were both able to do it.
Wow, that's amazing, guys. And I know what you said was like, it's sometimes very overwhelming to young people and to everybody, frankly, because there's so many problems, and some of these problems are so big, and you feel like really helpless and sad about the situation. And like, where do you begin? How do you even work towards that, especially as a young person thinking $16,000, like, how am I going to raise that and like build an entire house for a family? It's so crazy. So how do you get over that feeling of overwhelm and helplessness? Like, how do you just start to move forward and start to like take the steps you need to in order to make it happen?
I feel like that's what kind of drew me to Build a Miracle, is how they make it so easy to be able to change so many lives. Like they make it so simple. Just, Miss Julianne, she's one of the founders, Mrs. North. She and I would be texting, and if I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with this, I text her, what should I do? And she always was there to help me and kind of guide me. Or every time I'd have a little more money, I'd send it to her, and she's, good job, just kept on encouraging me. And then
Right.
I don't know, I feel like that cause, I just love that you can work hand in hand with these families and build their house with them and just be so involved. And I guess it takes away that feeling of like uncomfortableness, because you kind of see, first of all, how happy all these people are. Like, you would think, okay, if I didn't have a house, if I was getting poured on when it's rainy, if I had to sleep on the floor, I'd be miserable, right? But no, the smiles on these people's faces, they are the happiest, most grateful people. And so it kind of inspires you, and it really humbles you to be able to see, like, they just make the best of everything they have, and it makes it more comfortable, because now it's like, I don't know, it's just, the whole process is just amazing. And I guess the more we went down, the more I felt like it's like a second home at this point. And I miss going down there and just getting to hug everybody and talk to everybody. And
It's so true. It is the simplest things sometimes in life, right? It doesn't take a lot, and it doesn't have to be so complicated. But you said in your interview, you're happiest when you can make other people happy, right? And so what is it about some of those simple things? Like, how do we get all back to some of those simple ways of living together in a better way?
I think, personally, I think that getting to help other people kind of brings a different type of meaning into your life, because I feel like as a kid, sometimes it's hard because you feel like you're just stuck in this cycle of just, school or family. And so at a young age, getting to learn that helping others is kind of what makes me happier is an important lesson. And I'm sure that's for everyone. I mean, my mom is in her 40s, and she said it changed her life. It changed the way she looks at life. And she's so grateful that my brother and I got to, introduce that to her, and kind of give her a new sense of fulfillment. And I don't know, I definitely think like one of the best ways to feel happier in life is just to give other people, to give to other people and to make other people happy.
Mhm. I agree. You guys are so wise, because that's actually really what true leadership is, and lots of people say that, it always used to be leadership was of service, whoever could help the most people or give the most back to people was the true leader in a society. And we've definitely gotten away from that a little bit, but, it's amazing to hear young people like you starting to talk about those values again, because that is so important. That's how we're going to rebuild our world. So, I often talk about this new human story that we're all creating, right? And grounding it in some of these basic principles of humanity, of compassion, of kindness, of being nice to one another, of helping each other. So what do you guys see for a new human story? What is your vision for a better world, Gabriel?
A better world for me would be people giving back to their communities a lot more than we do now, because a lot of people are mostly focused on maybe doing something else that doesn't benefit others. And I feel like a better world would be a lot more people being selfless, because now that there's a lot new generations of people, they will grow up to hopefully make this world a better place with new inventions and giving back to their communities and always helping others, and that just being basically the default.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I also feel like sometimes we just get so stuck in our own lives that we forget that there's always going to be someone struggling more than us. And I feel like if we all come together as a community to just put a little bit in, whatever we can provide, just to help each other. And you see that even down in Mexico. I mean, they'll tell us how they'll have neighbors that let's say the neighbor has the house and the other person still is living in their shack and their house is being built, they were telling us how, oh, when it rains, we invite them over and everyone comes to my house. And that's just the smallest thing that changes so much, and that makes, like, small things like that just make the world a better place because you're just helping whoever you can. And I think that's like what's going to change the world if we want to.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really evident from watching you guys that, when you give, you actually get a gift back for yourself. And it's what you're saying, Gabriel, about being selfless. It's amazing because when you're selfless, you actually also getting back joy and happiness and, uplifting your own spirit, right? So, ultimately we are getting, something back in return from being so giving. And I think that then that lifts everybody and we all end up happier for it because we're all just giving to one another. And imagine what kind of world we could build if everyone was living from that mindset, right?
Yeah.
That's very cool. So how did you find your passion? Like, how can you help young people find their passion and what they want to do? Because I know a lot of young people say, we really want to make the world a better place. We want to contribute. We want to do something, but what's our purpose and how do we find our passion and how do we get involved? Like, what do we do?
I think you kind of have to find what you're more drawn to. I mean, when we were younger, we used to make like little care packages for the homeless and try all these little things. And of course, I liked doing it, but it was nothing I felt like a deep connection to. But I feel that every single person has a different thing that they're more drawn to. And this just happens to be my thing. And I think growing up, you just have to experience things and you have to put yourself out there and you have to try new things and not be stubborn. Because if I had been super duper stubborn and my mom didn't force me to go down to Mexico, I would have never even, felt this connection that I do today and been able to do everything I've done because I never would have even tried it. And so I feel like you just have to allow yourself to experience things, and that's the only way you're going to find what you're passionate about.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about trying a whole bunch of different things. I know when I was starting out, I tried so many different things and I travel and volunteer and you get involved and talk to people and have, coffee lunches and Zoom calls nowadays and,
Mhm.
just talk to people, find out what's going on and what resonates with you. And everyone has a place to contribute, right? And it's about finding that. Yeah. What
Exactly.
about you, Gabriel? How did you find your passion for this? Was it just your inspiration for seeing these things or?
The first time I went down, I realized that this was for me because I was able to give up time of doing my own, like playing video games, to give it to charity. And once I realized how cool it was to be able to do something as amazing as build a miracle, I realized that I want to keep doing this. And it was all because of Daniela. And if she weren't one of the, if she didn't do it at first, I never would have gone down either because we both went together. And it was because of her that really inspired me. I was able to see her do it and that realized this is the thing for me. I want to keep doing this because you're able to help others. And it's really exciting to see when they walk into their house and everyone yells surprise and they start breaking down in cheers. It's so emotional because you just realize how amazing it is.
That's amazing. So how, with all this work you're doing and your school, I'm sure is busy and getting involved in fundraising and building houses and getting people involved and inspiring people and everything. How do you find time to, first of all, stay focused on your mission and stay grounded in yourself so you're not, exhausting yourself and going in all directions and just remembering what you're here for? Do you
I
do daily
think
things or?
it gets a little difficult sometimes to balance, everything because I mean, right now, for an example, like school is a big priority because I mean, I have one more year. Next year, I'm going to be a senior, and then I'm going off to college. So I definitely, it takes a little bit to take time out and figure out. Okay, today I'm going to sit down and figure out how I'm going to raise this money, or today I'm going. I have a club at my school for Build a Miracle that I said, so I'm going to take time to plan a meeting or whatever it is. But I think that sometimes all it takes is just 20 minutes to sit down and think, okay, this is what I need to get done, you know, and the motivation is like, I need to help these people. I feel like I need to do this. So it's never been something where it ever has to, where it's ever hard for me. School, sometimes I'll have a harder time sitting down and doing my homework than sitting down and figuring out stuff for BAM because BAM is my passion. BAM is what I love to do. So you can make time for something if you really want to.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Gabriel? How do you see
Well,
it?
there's definitely added obstacles because of COVID. And with COVID not letting us go down, we have to figure out, okay, how are we going to stay involved in Build a Miracle and also balance school with all these new precautions we have to take, not being allowed to go outside as much because of getting COVID. And it definitely is hard, but then you realize, okay, I can put time aside for school and I can put time for charity. You know, you definitely have to balance the two because charity is something that's really awesome, but school is something that you have to do for your future. And both of them is just something you have to balance so that you're able to do them.
That's amazing. So you're incorporating it as part of your life
Yes.
early on, which is incredible. I mean, if you think about it, because, some of the older generations didn't grow up with it as part of your life from an early age. And so if young people start to incorporate it this way into everything they're doing growing up, then we can help so many people and build a better world. Very cool. So, can both of you share maybe one of just your favorite stories of helping someone, or one of the projects that you love the most, or just an experience that was like, oh my gosh, I love this work so much?
My favorite is, I mean, I always talk about it. Our first house that we ever built, like when I raised the money, was there was this little girl in the family, and her name was Maria. And the second, she saw me, she was just like following me around everywhere. And I don't speak much Spanish, so it's definitely interesting going down and figuring out how to communicate, because it's either my dad needs to translate or we're doing some hand signals or little words. But she would always like grab me and be like, let's go color, let's go color. I'm like, I'm trying to build the house. I can't color right now. And she's like, okay. And so we'd go and we'd build together and we'd work on it together. And she was just became like a little sister to me, honestly. And I still love when I get to go down and see her, or when she comes to the other builds we do. But she definitely was one of the main reasons I decided I wanted to keep building and keep working hard and raising money, because I feel like I had like someone looking up to me, and someone that is like, like a little sister to me that I always want to be there for, and I always want to, I don't know, just help her and show her that anything is possible. So I feel kind of like a role model, and that's a really special connection that's made me even love BAM even more.
So it really transcends, giving and caring transcends language and nationality and background and everything. I mean, once you start to care for one another, then people just understand it. They can feel it, right? It resonates. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be that you speak the same language. It's very cool.
exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Gabriel?
Mine was the family of my second home. So this family, every single time we went down to Mexico before COVID hit, I would immediately go up to them and they would immediately come up to me too. And we would just say hi to each other every single time because this family I made a really good connection with. I don't know why, but it was the second home with BAM that clicked. It was like, I want to keep doing BAM because of families like this family and I, we had never met. And the first day we did, we instantly connected. And it was just super happy. I was super happy that I made a connection with this family because then every time I go down, I have another thing to look forward to, which is seeing that family and saying hi to them and just bonding with them.
So those relationships, everything is relationships in life, right? And just learning how to treat each other with a little bit more kindness and compassion and respect, and understanding we're all part of one family, right? No matter where we're from. So how can
Yeah.
we help each other out? It's awesome. All right. Well, do you have one message for young people that you want to leave them with? One thought or something that can inspire young people to get out there and start to find their own change maker inside themselves?
I would say definitely just keep looking for your passion. If you never look, you're never going to find it, and you won't always be happy for the rest of your life because you don't have that passion to look forward to. So keep looking until you find something that you love.
Yeah. And mine would probably be that when you put your mind to something, that you can accomplish anything, because it definitely sometimes got a little frustrating that, oh, like my mom doesn't think I'm gonna do this. Okay, watch, I'm gonna do it. And I put my mind to it and I was able to do it. And now it's easy to me. It's not even a challenge anymore. So it's just if you really want to accomplish something and you put your mind to it and you put the work in, you can do it.
Yeah, that's very inspirational. Really, we can do anything that our minds believe we can do.
Exactly.
Limitless ultimately. So whatever we have as a vision, we can create it. So just go for it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much, you guys. That was amazing. And I'm sure it's going to inspire many young people as it already is. And so to follow their passions and get involved and help create a better world for everybody.